What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Cats vs Kicks once again. Appreciate y'all for stopping in and checking out the channel. So today we had some relatively big things happen today on the sneakers app, and we did end up having a shock drop over the Air Jordan 1 UNC Toe, the University Blue Jordan 1, whatever you want to call them. It is the Black Toe UNC Jordan 1. Of course, they are set to drop later this July. July 22nd, I believe, is the release date that is set for right now. But today we did get the shock drop for that shoe. So I don't have the shoe in hand yet. I think I should actually have a video up for it tomorrow or the next day. Within the next couple of days, I should have a review up of the shoe. But I did want to just talk about the shock drop that happened today. Kind of get y'all's thoughts and opinions on it, because this one was very interesting, I will say. Now, I will say they called it a shock drop, but in reality, it really wasn't a shock drop. Today is the 6th. We found out on the 5th that we were getting the shock drop today. Of course, has been speculation for a while that we were going to get a shock drop at some point on the shoe. But like I mentioned, we did end up getting word on July 5th that we will be having a shock drop on July 6th. So that's why I posed the question, was it really a shock drop? Because we already knew about it, and we've seen kind of back and forth with sneakers. Well, sometimes they'll drop shoes where you just have no idea they're dropping, and then other times they'll you kind of get the heads up beforehand that there's going to be a shock drop happening. And case in point, actually, Sniper Kicks tweeted out today about the Air Jordan 1 Off-White UNC, and those shock dropped, I believe, like 2018 back in June. So it was around this time. But a lot of people, when they talk about that shock drop, they talk about how it came out of nowhere, no one was really prepared for it, but it was probably one of the best shock drops that ever happened just because of how well it went. Now, compared to this shock drop that we had today over the Air Jordan 1 University Blue, like I mentioned, we got word of it yesterday, we got the time yesterday, so people were already aware of what was going to happen. And then the shock drop was happening 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 Central Time, and I think like 11 a.m. PST time in the U.S. On the Sneakers app. Now, I logged onto the app about 15 minutes early, and on the Sneakers app, they already had the shock drop screen already up. So if you were on the Sneakers app, like if you just happened to go on the Sneakers app today and you were just scrolling around, you would have seen the shock drop picture that was already posted. So it was already being advertised ahead of time that there was going to be a shock drop, and you could even click into the screen and it would take you to where you could see what sizes were dropping. So we did end up having the full size run today. So men's, grade school, preschool, everything dropped today on the shock drop. So it just kind of makes it interesting, because are things changing to where now it's not really a shock drop anymore? Like they're releasing the shoe early, but we know it's coming. People can prepare for it to drop instead of actually just doing it out of nowhere and just surprising everybody with the drop. Now, in my opinion, I prefer to have the randomness of the shock drop where things just drop out of nowhere and it's just a bum rush to the app for everybody to try and be able to cop a pair, compared to this where everybody's already aware. You know, you can set your alarm, you can be prepared for the drop to happen. It just kind of, to me, takes away the fun of it. Now, am I gonna be upset about it? No, because at the end of the day, I still want the shoe. I'm still going to try to go for the shoe regardless of if it's a random shock drop or if it's a planned shock drop. But it does, like I mentioned, beg the question of what is a shock drop anymore? Just because you have the randomness like this, or the non-randomness like this, and it just kind of makes things interesting. Now, the rumored stock numbers with this drop was, I believe it was like 200,000 pairs was the rumored number for this one. It was actually lower than what was rumored. We actually ended up getting 108,564 pairs, and that was a men's 3 through men's 18. And then, of course, we had the preschool, toddler sizes and all that. So probably around 150. I don't know the exact number, but it was supposedly less than 200,000 that we ended up getting today. So that was one aspect of it. Another was just not everybody's going to be able to cop the shoe today. Now, I will give sneakers a benefit of the doubt. The app ran fairly smoothly for the most part on this shock drop. Like when it happened, I was able to go in, enter my size, and then it took like a couple seconds for it to load for me to submit my order, and then it went through, and then I was able to go through and do the same thing for a GS size, and things went pretty smoothly. Now, for the most part, a lot of people that I talked to didn't have any issues trying to enter for the pair. Now, one of my friends did try to enter for it, and she ended up getting, it was like a greater than sign, and it just wouldn't allow you to purchase or just even enter to submit your size. Now, I was like, try to maybe close the app and go back in. She did that, it still didn't work. And then I had her to check to see maybe she had a sneakers update, and that might have been the reason she hadn't messaged me back, so I don't know if that was the reason. But I was scrolling through Twitter and I did notice that other people were having similar issues trying to enter for this shock drop, where they had that greater than sign instead of the actual price that you could enter and tap and go through and submit your order. So I'm not sure what exactly happened, if there was some glitch with some people's app, or like I mentioned, it could have been there was a sneakers update that people didn't do, and that might have been the issue. It's really no telling. It's always weird when it comes to these just random drops like this, or just drops that aren't scheduled in the sneakers app per se, because you just never know how well they'll go. And then of course you have the massive amount of people going to the sneakers app in order to try and purchase one of these pairs, so it just gets hectic trying to do that. But hopefully if you were able to cop a pair, congratulations to y'all. I was able to hit on a GS pair. I was trying to get my size, but I was not able to, so I'll be trying on July 22nd to cop a pair in my personal size. I'm honestly curious to see how these look in person, just because from the images and seeing them online and seeing other people's early reviews of them, they look pretty nice, I'm not gonna lie, and I'm considering the double up. We're just gonna have to wait and see when I get this shoe in person. But like I mentioned, with the point of this video was just, how do y'all feel about the just organized shock drop, basically, where everybody knows ahead of time? It's really not a shock drop anymore. It's more of just, you know, they're releasing the shoe early. It's not, and not to say like, I don't want to say like exclusive access or something like that, but really that, I mean, they're releasing the shoe early and everybody is aware of it, compared to just the random shock drop and having that aspect of things. Like, I honestly couldn't tell you the last time we got a random shock drop. I know we've had one like in the past year, but off the top of my head, I don't remember it being something of this great of a magnitude where everybody is wanting the shoe and they just randomly drop it out of nowhere. Like, yeah, so it'll be interesting to see as the year goes on and as we get more into other shoes that are releasing this year. Will we see more of this method where they announce the shock drop ahead of time, we see the screen and the shoes load up beforehand on the sneakers app to where it's like 15 minutes before the drop and you can go in and actually see what sizes are dropping and kind of pre-plan what you're looking for? Or if we'll see more of like the random drops and stuff that just drops out of nowhere. There's a couple different shoes that are going to be dropping this year that could have that random aspect to it, so I'll be curious to see how sneakers decides to do things and end up dropping these. But let me know in the comments how y'all feel about it. Do you prefer the random shock drops, or do you like the more organized shock drops? What are your thoughts and opinions on it? Like I mentioned earlier, for me, I think I would prefer the random drops, but at the end of the day, I know for me, I'm gonna want the shoe regardless. Like, I'm gonna go for it whether it's random or it's not random. But it would just be nice to have, like, if you're gonna call it a shock drop, let it be a shock drop instead of having the organized, like, hey, we're telling everybody the day before and we're gonna set things up ahead of time just so people can go cop. So let me know in the comments how y'all feel about it. Do you prefer one way, or do you prefer the other, or does it even bother you at the end of the day? Like I mentioned, I should have the early review up in my whatever next video I post over the next couple of days. It should be an early review of the Jordan 1 University Blue, so I will get that for y'all ASAP whenever I get the shoe in. But as always, I do appreciate y'all for stopping in. Go and subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, turn off the notification bell so you can stay up to date when I post new content. As always, I do appreciate y'all for stopping in. Hopefully you enjoy your Friday. Stay safe and stay blessed, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.